My name is Alexis Alexander, and I'll be presenting the workability and disadvantage arguments for our negative 7. So as far as the policy we used to have about women not being allowed in combat or infantry positions, it just didn't work. Women were already deployed and put on the front lines and serving kind of behind the scenes in combat positions. According to the New York Times Up Front, which is a news magazine for high schoolers, today more than 350,000 women serve in our military, and 30,000 are deployed in Afghanistan and Iraq. And that was prior to the new policy being put in place that allows women to serve in combat. Some might say that it goes against a man's instinct to try not to defend a woman standing next to him if that were the case. But the military training goes completely against instincts. It teaches you that when gunfire is coming at you, you don't run away, that you stand and fight. I mean, if they can teach you to not run away when you hear a bomb exploding, surely they can teach men to see women as equals and not put their own lives in jeopardy to save them. According to Elspeth Reeve, she said, a major part of military training is getting men and women to reverse the normal human instinct to, when things blow up all around you, get the hell out of there instead of doing the fighting the military paid for. That just goes to show that when you're in the military, instincts aren't really a thing that you can trust at that point. Like, you learn a new set of instincts. And allowing women to fight in combat doesn't mean that our standards would be lowered. It means that women would have the opportunity to try and reach those standards. An article called Women in Combat Will Move the Military Forward says there's no plan for gender norming. Any woman who wants to join the infantry will have to meet the standards already in place. If she can't, she's going home, just like the other men who can't make it as well. We have this perception that infantry means men, but that doesn't mean every man who wants to be in the infantry is. Men have to try out. A lot of them don't make it. That would be the same case with women. Allowing women to serve in the infantry gives them the opportunity to try and do the same things, reach the same standards. It doesn't mean that every woman is going to be allowed in. That's just, it's a matter of capabilities. Everyone has different capabilities. Another part of it is that when you're serving, women aren't seen as women necessarily. They're seen as another army soldier standing next to you, another Marine standing next to you. They're not seen in the same aspect as we see them in society. The Marine Corps newsroom says, a quote from Staff Sergeant James Baker, "We didn't look at them as females serving, we just saw another Marine." This goes to show that when they're serving out there on the front lines or in a combat position or in the infantry, men aren't standing there saying, I need to protect her, I have to put my life in danger for her. They know she's trained, she's just as qualified as they are, that's why she's standing there, and that's how they're seen. So right now, there's certain guidelines you have to meet in order to join. For instance, a 42-year-old man has to do 30 push-ups, 32 sit-ups, and be able to run 2 miles in 18 minutes and 42 seconds. An 18-year-old woman must do 19 push-ups, 53 sit-ups, and run 2 miles in 18 minutes and 54 seconds. There's hardly any difference at all. And if a 42-year-old man could meet those standards and still be allowed to join, why shouldn't a woman who can meet those standards be allowed to join? And that's actually happened. A website called Don't Get Me Started says that Jeffrey Williamson, who was 41, joined the Army and not only made it through infantry training, but he also became a scout and served in the 101st Airborne Division. If a 40-year-old man can make it through infantry training and become that specialized, why shouldn't a woman who's able to meet the same standards be able to do the same? It doesn't make sense. And others are worried about, PTSD levels, that there's disadvantages to it. But actually a study done on women in combat says that tested after being deployed, women had the same PTSD levels as men. Although they struggled a little bit more to reintegrate back into society, the long-term effects were no different. So women are perfectly capable of doing it. The negative side effects are almost equal to men. If a woman can reach the same standards, why should she be seen any different than a man who can? you know, it's a matter of finding women who are able to do the stuff. Not every woman will be involved in that group, but some will be.